When I was 11 years old, I started playing music professionally. Because of that, I didn't have a childhood much like anyone I know. I didn't have any time for sports or sleepovers or idle afternoons, which is probably why my husband likes to joke that I didn't have a childhood. That and my serious lack of knowledge of every movie released between 1985 and the early 2000s. He's not entirely wrong. My childhood was instead filled with performances and late night shows. I'd finish a full day of school, rush home, and head right back out the door to perform in Waikiki. It was a different world, yes, but to me, it was insufferably normal. I didn't know anything outside of this life. I had 2 siblings who felt exactly the same way. And to be quite honest, I never really felt like I was missing out on anything. We worked a lot, but I always seemed to find wonder and beauty through it all. I grew up on the east side of Oahu in a little place called Kaneohe, and some of my most fond memories of performing with my family involved a lot of travel to the neighbor islands. My dad has always been an early riser, and even after a painfully long show the night before, he made sure we were always booked on the first flight out. Yup, that meant waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to catch a 5:30 a.m. flight, and believe me when I say that it felt criminal. It was literally in those moments that I understood why we have child labor laws. But somewhere in the delirium of those mornings, I found magic. You see, my dad was an early riser. My brother, on the other hand, not so much. So while we waited for him to stumble out of his hotel room and into the car, I could catch the night sky right before dawn, blanketed in the most brilliant stars and still untouched by the light of day. The brilliance of those outer island night skies became my quiet obsession at a really young age. I can still remember the feeling I had while staring up, longing to one day live someplace where I could see that sky every single night. Life moved on. I graduated from college and found myself immersed in a busy performance schedule. And that little girl's dream faded into the background, only resurfacing in those unusually dark Kaneohe evenings or those rare neighbor island mornings. Then, around 2017, I fell for this local boy from Eva Beach. He was handsome, guitar playing, Hawaiian, and he was kind and fearless and smart. And I knew early on that this could be the one. Maybe. The one thing that made me skeptical was that I knew he didn't want to live on Oahu. He was managing his grandpa's farm in Ka'u, and even though we had just started dating, I knew him well enough to know that he loved being on Hawaii Island. I had heard him mention to others in casual conversation about his dream to one day live in some small town called Waimea. He was on a journey training horses and living part-time on a ranch on the east side, and he was so passionate about it. But I was on the fence. I mean, there was no way I could leave all my ohana and all my friends on Oahu. Not anytime soon, at least. Well, one night, stupid me, the words flew out of my mouth so quickly I barely had time to comprehend what I had just said. But it was something along the lines of, well, I just want you to know I want a house small enough to clean, but big enough for my whole family to stay. Because obviously I know you don't want to live on Oahu. And I immediately froze. I mean, we had been dating for about a year. Who says that to their brand new boyfriend? I immediately thought, well, too late to take that back. Whatever happens next, oh well. I waited for Kalea to say something, anything, and he didn't. Instead, he kissed me on the forehead and smiled, and I just remember thinking, well, what the hell does that mean? Within weeks, not months, not years, weeks, he started sending me real estate listings for vacant lots in Waimea. I thought we were a decade away from that step, but apparently I had given him the green light. And what I learned about my husband all these years later is once you give him the green light, he charges in full speed. Less than 1 year later, we walked the land where we'd one day build our home. And together, we made his dream come true. I honestly couldn't believe it. And then it rained for 3 months straight. Every single day. Pouring, cold, wet rain. We didn't see any blue skies at all. I kept thinking to myself, why did he choose this place? Is he secretly a vampire who can't stand the sunlight? Like, I'm confused. But he was so determined to make me love this place and bless his heart, he thought he would accomplish it by having me do yard work. In his mind, he thought, work your land, feel proud of something, put your hands to the dirt, and you'll feel accomplished, like this place is yours. In my mind, I thought, perfect, now I'm cold, wet, and learning how to weed whack. The first time I saw Mauna Kea early in the morning, standing with the sunrise, I felt like the wind had been knocked out of me. I didn't even realize how close the Mauna would be to us until months after we had settled in. She had been covered by clouds all this time. I grew up with the ko'olaus, a protective blanket of mountainscape around me, but Mauna Kea stood so differently from the mountains I grew up with. Strong, sacred, and completely alone. It was so peaceful, and over time, I fell for this rhythm of country life. The rain I once cursed became this huge blessing, nourishing the land, feeding our animals. I started to see how this tight-knit community, these strangers who welcomed me so fully, had so much to teach me about the simple and most meaningful parts of this life. And one night, not long after moving in, we came home late from a show on the coast. It was a chilly night in Waimea, but still. And the sky seemed brighter than usual. I stepped out of the car and looked up, and there it was, but it wasn't just stars. I couldn't believe that I could see the entire Milky Way galaxy stretched across the sky like a banner saying, "Welcome home." There was no moon, not a single cloud, just stars in every single direction I turned. I stood there in tears and could almost hear that 11-year-old version of myself whisper, "You made our dream come true too." That moment reminded me how powerful childhood dreams are and how worthy they are of being chased. I'm so grateful for that little girl who dared to dream under the stars, who imagined her future in the backseat of her dad's van, and who taught me to keep reaching. The stars still humble me. They remind me that there's something bigger out there, but also that I and we are all a part of it. Every version of me, including that little 11-year-old girl with those big, bold, beautiful dreams. And maybe that's the real gift of dreams. They're not just far-off wishes or fleeting ideas. They're pieces of who we are, quietly waiting for us to be brave enough to find our way back to them. So, here's to the dreams born in the back seat, in the quiet delirium of early mornings, under skies full of stars. Maybe they never really leave us. Maybe they become the invisible map that's always leading us home. My name is Kalena Parish, and I am from Waimea, Hawaii Island.